Welcome to day 3. Today we will be doing Science 1 and Communications 1. This lesson will focus on the science lesson. Now when you look in your teacher's manual, don't forget to print out your teacher's manual, you'll see that today for Science 1 you have 3 different activities. Now you have about 80 minutes to complete the 3 activities, so that leaves you plenty of time to do as much or as little as you like. So the first activity is a discussion. So you're going to talk about the relationship of the sun and the earth. And you're going to be talking about how people used to believe that the earth was the center of the universe and everything rotated around us. So there are some examples in the book that talk about different people and events, and you can go and research those as much as you like. So the way that homeschooling works is a little bit different from a regular classroom setting. With homeschooling, every time that your child asks a question, you just go and look it up and find the answer. And then that can lead to more questions, and you go and look that up and find the answer. It's really a lot of inquiry-based learning. So whatever you're interested in, you go and learn a lot about. Now, right now, you won't be able to also go to the library and pick up a bunch of books about this particular topic because your library is probably closed. So there's tons of resources online that you can look up. Start with a reputable source like an encyclopedia or a science source like National Geographic or something like that. So start with those, or maybe some university websites. There are some really great simulations out there that will show you the relationship of the Earth to the Sun. And if you're working with an older student or someone who is really interested in the math, there's some really great math out there also. Now, we don't really get very deep into astronomy right now during the knowledge series. That's saved for the next series, actually, when we start getting into microscopes and telescopes and a lot more complex math. But if your student is already into that, go ahead and follow that rabbit trail wherever it goes. All that learning is super, super great for your kid. All right, the second activity is to make a shadow chart. And this is a fun science experiment that you can do yourself that requires almost no effort whatsoever. Exactly my favorite type of science experiment. I'm not huge on the setup and cleanup, so chemistry, not really my thing, but this is an easy one, okay? So you're going to go outside and find a pole or put a pole in the ground that's perfectly vertical. So use a level or eyeball it the best you can. And then you're going to set a timer. And for the next few weeks, you're going to be collecting data on the ground, marking down where the sun hits at different times of the day. Now in the book, it says to do it at 9 o'clock, noon, 3, and 6 o'clock. You can do it as little or as much as you want to. So since you're at home, you can do this every hour. That'll be a great way to sort of get your child outside and moving every hour, and it'll get you sort of back on track too if you forgot to do school that day. So you can go out and measure something, come back in and do a computer lesson, go out and measure something, come back in and do a hands-on lesson, and it just sort of keeps your day moving along so you don't accidentally find out you've been watching Netflix for 4 hours straight. All right, so set an alarm, make sure you go out and measure that. It'll give you some examples of things you can use for markers like colored rocks or plastic toothpicks. We have a big stack of plastic knives because everybody uses the plastic forks and spoons, but not the knives. So you could use those to mark the spots on the ground where the shadow ends at. Then the third activity is to do a model of the Earth's axis and spin and show how that relates to the sun. Now, normally I do this in a darkened classroom and I have a lamp. I just take off the lampshade, just get like a short little lamp and put it here. And then I have a globe, like an actual globe, and I can spin it and it's already tilted at the right angle and I can move it around the sun and I can show you the days and the seasons and the whole deal. I don't have any of that right now because I'm working from home. So I'm going to sort of demonstrate how to do it, but this is not the sun and this is not a globe, okay? We're just gonna do the best that we can with what we have. So the way that it works, see if I can turn my little sun on. So you'll have your little lamp here in the middle. I won't shine it right in the camera because it's kind of bright. And if you're in a darkened room, this will work the best, okay? So you can see here's my globe, and then when the sun is shining on it, it's better. And I'm sure it's really hard to see from out there, but one side of it is much brighter than the other side of it. In a darker room, this will work out great, okay? So you're gonna have your lamp in the middle and your earth off to the side. All right, you know what? I'm switching earths because this one has an axis on it, okay? See that little North Pole axis. You can do your tilt and be able to remember what you're doing, okay? So you're going to talk about the North Pole and the South Pole and the equator, and you're going to talk about how the Earth is spinning, and so you can see day and night, okay? So you see day and night. This side the sun is shining on is day. The other side, which will be dark in your darkened room, is night, okay? So that's the first thing you want to study is day and night. I also want to talk about the seasons, okay? So right now, in the North Pole, it's tilted away from the sun, okay? So right now, the South Pole is getting the most heat. The North Pole up here, not very much heat. And then you're going to take your Earth and you're going to rotate it around your sun. And normally you won't have to turn your sun because it'll just be a light bulb. And you're going to be on the other side. You're going to say, okay, so now the North Pole is getting the most heat. In fact, part of the top is lit up all day long while it's spinning here. Okay? So you're going to talk about this, and you're going to talk about your days and your seasons as the Earth goes around, and how once it goes all the way around the sun, that's 1 year. Okay? And so in the northern hemisphere right here, it's winter, and then spring, and then summer, and then fall, and then back to winter. In the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite. So we have the summer down here in the southern hemisphere because it's the hottest, and then fall, and then winter, and then spring, and then back to summer. Okay, so those are the main things that you want to cover while you're doing this little model. If that sounds way too hard, or you also don't happen to have a globe because you are also stuck at home, there are plenty of models of this online. And if I have some extra time today, I will try to find one and post it below this so that you can look at it, because sometimes virtual is better than real life, and that will work out just fine for us all. Okay, so those are your three your three activities. Discuss, do the shadow chart outside, and then do the model of the Earth to the sun to talk about the hemispheres, the northern and southern hemispheres, the axis tilt, and all that stuff. And this will also be covered in your student's lesson on the computer. You might want to sit in on this one because it's a very interesting lesson and it'll help you get a good idea for what they're studying. All right, next up will be the video on Communications 1.